A very good afternoon to all of you. I stand here today with an intent of talking about how we're going to reshape leadership, right? To the beautiful audience and my dear friends, I have a quick question. Have you ever come across a situation where you have actually stood there mentioning or projecting yourself as if everything was in control, but eventually there's a huge chaos that's happening in reality, in the background, and yet managing to have that bold and a confident smile on your face? What do you think this is exactly? If you have experienced a situation like this, then my friend, you are experiencing leadership. So, welcome to the world of leaders. Young leaders who are bold enough, courageous enough to be vulnerable. I come with almost a decade of experience. As a rookie, when I go back, when I started off my first ever job, I had this thought when I looked at the CEOs, the CXOs addressing during my first ever orientation, which was at one of the prime organizations, by the way. I was also a campus recruit. The only thought about a leader that flashed my brain at that point in time was a confident, an individual who knew everything. You walk up, they had a plan in place to tell you. You ask a question, they have an answer for you. The question was the kind of leader that you're interacting with, is that the leader that you would really appreciate or would want to work with? Is it the leader that you would walk up and actually talk about what is running within yourself? So back then, as a rookie, I struggled, to be very honest. I struggled to open up with my leaders, with my reporting managers, for the fact of not being felt safe. We'll talk a little more about how do you want to be feeling safe within a team, within a system, within an organization. Let's bring in a realistic example. When I recently started off as a leader, I had a team of 6. And I was instructed by my CXO boss who told me that, Haleema, here's a complex project I'm giving you. It's going to drive you for 1 year long. You're going to come up with an extremely, extremely stringent project plan. And you have all that you want, your free bird. Explore yourself and come up with a project plan where we have tremendous deliverables coming by the end of 12 months. I walked up to my team, a team of 6, and we understood what each and every individual is going to do in this project. My team was super excited because they loved doing what they are into currently. We kicked off with full energy. They were long days. We worked for 18 hours, one shot. We hopped multiple cities. There was crazy travel that was happening. And towards the end of 6 months, midway through our project, by the way, I realized that we failed. We failed miserably. And I was right there thinking of what am I going to talk to my team of 6, which is energy packed, which was so curious to come back and deliver. I was again preparing for that motivational and a typical Gyan session to my team. And that moment I realized something changed. I walked up to the boardroom where my team was seated. And that one line, that statement, changed everything that day. I walked up to my team and I said, Guys, we failed. We failed miserably, and I am tired. I am exhausted. And I told them that, honestly, I don't have an answer at this moment. But yes, if we stick on together, then we are going to go ahead and crack this for ourselves. Of course, my team never saw me that way earlier. They were quiet. There was quiet silence in the boardroom. And after 20 seconds, one of my team members stood up and said that, Haleema, I had the fear of walking up to you and telling that I did a mistake. Immediately, the next person in the team walked up. We had a corrective measure. I knew that we were falling back. I did not dare to come and talk to you. That's when the magic happened. That's when the team stood up more with me. As a team, we stood up for each other, and that's where we started building trust. And how did this magic happen? As a leader, if I had walked back that day, but typical questions of asking my team, why have we not done this? Why? The whys that would have pushed my team to come back with cover-up stories, I converted that into a story where my team opened up about what they exactly felt during the 6 months, and that's where we exactly arrived at the right problem statement. And that directed us towards rebuilding our plan in achieving and delivering this project in the next 6 months. So that's the beauty of a vulnerable leader. That's where you stand up as a leader. How would you show yourself, expressing yourself, being that realistic, authenticated leader within the teams, within the people around? What are you exactly trying to be? Are we dealing with robots? Absolutely no. Let us remind ourselves that we are humans around. There are people around that we are dealing with. Yes, I agree on the AI flourish that's happening in the industry today. Yet, the world still needs a human touch. Leadership absolutely would need a human touch. Let us also think about the world that we are living in, the complex world that's into remote models. We have hybrid structures coming in. We have a changing climate that all of us are facing in this world. How is leadership playing a major role in dealing with diversified and differential changes that's happening around us? The key is vulnerability. Are you prepared to be yourself? Do you carry the fear of being yourself? That's absolutely a right question. Are you being judged? If you're going to walk up to your team and say that, yes, I'm afraid of doing this one. Yes, I do not have an answer for everything. That's an absolute question for any leader for that matter. But what really tricks in here is, are we prepared? Are we prepared to be courageous enough? Will our self or being yourself lead you to delivering and building magical teams? I come with an experience of working with very, very young founders in the industry. And what's magical about these folks? Typically the Gen Z world. I love the Gen Zs. They don't fear to be themselves. They're born leaders, according to me. And I have huge respect for Gen Z who walk up, who say that fearlessly, that they are here, they have a problem statement. If there's something that they're not able to learn, they seek for help. And that's an absolute leader that the world needs today. I also came across a recent survey which said that vulnerable leaders are the ones who have extremely high emotional intelligence. And what is emotional intelligence leading you to? innovation. And what's the background of innovating? Do you think an individual can innovate overnight? The answer is no. Any innovation that's happened in today's world is post multiple failures. You fail a number of times. That's when you learn to be an innovator. What do you learn out of failures as a leader? You either understand that failure is helping you pick something new, or you learn to be innovating something big. If you go back and also study about new gen founders in the system, they have failed. I'm very sure there's no founder or any other CXO who would tell you that he has achieved a certain position without failing. So vulnerability also talks about embracing failure. Let us pause for a moment and reflect back and ask ourselves a question. Is it that leader who's super confident the one that you would want to work with? Or is it that leader who made you feel safe in spite of your imperfections and helped you deliver wonders? That's a food for thought that I would leave back to my dear audience today. Creating a psychological safety. What is a psychological safety? A leader standing up there, being yourself, being real, being authenticated rather than being authoritative, and then letting your team yourself. Today, the world needs leaders that has all their ears. The world needs leaders who can drive empathetically. How do you think we can actually go back and implement vulnerability with leaders? 3 simple concepts that I would like to mention today. Initiate honest conversations. Be honest to yourself. If there was a particular project that you have struggled as a leader, let's be vocal about it. It's okay to go back and tell your team that, yes, I tried implementing this project, I failed. I failed a number of times. That is perfectly fine. As a team member, you will have your team come back with honest answers. They would definitely tell you what is happening with them. The next interesting point is, let's try with empathy. Empathy becomes the key rather than reaching out to your team and asking, what's the update? Where's your status tracker? Give me what's happening on a particular day. What did we do the entire week? Rather than put down a question, how's your family doing? Did you have a good day today? Trust me, the empathetic behavior of a leader is going to change the attitude of your entire team. And we've seen this in the past. Teams become more connected. Trust will lead you to truth. That's the essence of being vulnerable. A quick storyline against one of the CEOs that I read about. Now, this CEO thought of changing the entire culture of his organization. So what did he exactly do? He did not come up with any new strategies or any sort of expensive or high budgeted initiatives for the organization. He just followed a very simple question. He met his team every week and asked them a simple question, and the question was, how was your week? Did you face any challenges? He spent 2 weeks, 3 weeks, there was no answer coming in. Because the team was closed, the group was closed. They were not feeling safe about telling what it really meant, right? But then one fine day, one of the team members walked up and he answered. And his question was, I feel burnt out. I don't think I have a family life. I'm not able to manage professional and personal relationship. That's when the culture, that's where the culture plays a role in any organization when the CEO actually stepped in to solve all of these key problems. And that's where he built a world-class culture, which was more focused on employee efficiencies and productivity. So I would like to close my note on urging for today's leaders, one, to own your mistakes and stand up. Stand up for yourself and see how the world will stand up for you. Be yourself, be realistic as you can. You do not have to wear the shield of being perfect. Absolutely not required. If you think that you are somebody who can talk about your failures, who can learn from your failures, you are the right vulnerable leader for me. With this, I would like to thank each of your patients for hearing me out. Thank you so much. Thank you.